Bagels, it was not Tigu that was holding up the match, okay? You can't just flame all of your teammates. You'll have no teammates left. Azeroth is calling. Okay, good focus actually. Okay. Good luck, have funs. Into round 1 of Intel by Thaune. See the Swedish player Marhal versus the German Tigu. Similar starts, but Marhal getting a bit too inside. Will lose a few tenths on Tigu, who gets a bit of an awkward line, and Marhal will gain back. Only be a couple of tenths separating the two cars as they go into the second half of the map. Marhal with a more inside line just about keeps it out of the wall. Will be ahead of Tigu, but Tigu has the better line into the plastic. It's down to the last slide. Marhal pushing it slightly more inside. Tigu will have a little bit more speed, but Marhal will hold him off. I don't know whether to GR that because it's not pace. Now we'll leave it. First round goes to the Swedish player. Into round 2, and it's an unfortunate slide out for Marhal. That will cost at least a second. Probably more. Tigu can take nice relaxed lines. It's got a second and a half to play with. Make that 2 seconds, and yeah, no need to push on this round. Unless he wants to flex, then of course, then, you know, gotta send it. 43.5, faster pace than last round. Within a second of WR. Exactly, always push. Gotta prove a point. I mean, Tigu doesn't really have to prove anything, to be honest. Pretty well-known and well-respected player. Okay, Marhal with a more inside first slide will have a bit of an advantage, but will adjust slightly too much, trying to avoid the second apex, and will slide out. And that's a larger mistake than last round. Tigu driving clean lines. Gets a nice exit to the plastic flick. Nice inside line to the finish. A respectable 0.4. Yeah, 0.60 being the WR set by Opal. So Marhal goes for this more inside line. Tigu goes a little bit wider, gets a nicer second slide, and will just about be in the lead before the road. Marhal with a bit more extra speed, half a tenth in it. Tigu gaining a bit before downhill. It's important to get a good SD exit here. Carry the speed. Both make it clean through the plastic flick, but Marhal's pushing the last turn. Gains 10th back on Tigu, but is not enough. 43.19. It's a winning time. By who? What did I say? Did I misspeak? Oh, it's over. Casting career is done. What did I say? Oh no. Alright, next round. Tigu really far inside. Keeps it out of the wall. That's impressive, but I think he might have lost the gear. And that allows Marhal just to have a bit more of a lead. Couple of tenths before the downhill left. Yeah, WR. Oh, okay. BM. Okay, Marhal with a bit of a lead, but touches the inside onto the last slide, and that will let Tigu snipe the victory away at the last slide. Unfortunate way to lose a round. But if you're Tigu, you make an early mistake, and then you just push the rest of the round, and sometimes you're rewarded for it. Got to take advantage of that. This time it's a similar start from both players. Tigu keeping it more inside, will be a bit faster going into this turnaround. Similar SDs, Marhal with a bit more speed, goes more inside, will gain back time on Tigu. Less than half a tenth in it. Both players risking the inside. Tigu a bit more than Marhal and will not benefit him. Marhal has a slight lead going into the last slide, but might have to have done a micro adjust there to avoid making the same mistake as they did last round, and that will give Tigu the round win. That makes the score 5-1 in favour of the 34% driver. And if Marhal wants to win this map, they're going to have to put in a pretty strong stint of a few rounds. Tigu again pushing this inside line, this time not dropping the gear, and will be fast. Marhal trying to close the gap, but will unfortunately make a mistake and hit the wall. Not losing too much time surprisingly, but half a second in favour of Tigu going into the plastic flick, and that's enough to do quite a generous safe. Another low 43 will secure the round win. Map point to Tigu. 6-1. Both players, more similar starts this time. Tigu really pushing that inside line on the second slide, and this inside line here, which really seemed to benefit him so far in this match. Having got a tenth of a half lead over the Swede going into the second half of the map. Tigu getting a really nice inside line and will carry more speed from the plastic flick. Marhal unfortunately touches the inside, which leaves Tigu to drive it into the finish with another 0.1. Clean driving. Pretty consistent rounds from Tigu, enough to close it out. Next map will be Okra, which is Tigu's map pick. Mixed gear map by Quat and Doogie. Had some pretty cinema rounds on this map last night. Was very interesting to say the least. Hopefully we see more converted rounds and less sliding out. But if warm-up's anything to go by, seems to be a little bit closer. I wasn't going to mention names, but, you know, that's just generational hatred, I guess. So WR is a 48.8 by Jazz. Tigu has a 48.9 and Marhal has a 49.3. It's a pace advantage in favour of Tigu, who has a Marhal, right, this guy, up and coming player, so I've heard. Icy campaign grinder, I believe. That's where I've seen the name most. Back in the day anyway, I'm not sure if they still play Icy campaign. But all that aside, they have a chance to lead the map after the first round ahead of Tigu, with a huge gap to do so, so as long as they don't make a slide out in the last turn, which they don't appear to do. That'll be round 1 to Marhal. Into round 2, and I think Tigu will hope that he can keep it on the inside line a bit more this time, and seems to get it very well, having an almost 2/10 lead over Marhal. Yeah, Tigu's really pushing this gear 3 section and has around half a second going into the gear 4. Gets a really good first slide as well. Gap grows to a second, and you can see why Tigu picked this map. Definitely strong on pace here. .30. Respectable rounds time. Half a second from WR. The .1s are where the NTs get deployed though. This time it's Marhal with the early lead. Tigu really risking that apex. Will gain a bit of time back, but has less exit speed than Marhal, so Marhal going into the gear 4 section has got almost a quarter of a second in hand, but makes an unfortunate adjustment and will be sliding out. Which leaves Tigu with just the open road ahead for company. And that'll give Tigu the lead on his map pick. 2 rounds to 1. Marhal hoping for a slightly closer scoreline on this map in comparison to the last. And so far, it's been driving some clean lines in the starts. It's just the gear 4 section so far that seems to be causing them some difficulty. But again, seems to be Marhal out of the gear 3 with a bit of an advantage maybe, but Tigu coming back with a bit more speed into the gear 4. Will try and snowball it away. Marhal gets a really nice inside line, but will have less exit speed than Tigu, who is closing the gap slowly. Tigu opting for wide early on to try and keep a little bit more exit speed, and has a more optimum line, but takes more snow. But Tigu will take the round by less than half a tenth. Both players getting similar starts. Tigu turning around slightly faster. Will have about a tenth of a gap. Maybe even less. Marhal really pushing that inside line. Gets a nice exit. Much more exit speed than Tigu. And lands straight as well, which is really crucial. Tigu pushing the inside, trying to max a good SD out. Gets it very clean, but is still a tenth behind the Swedish player, who makes an unfortunate error and will go off the inside of the map. Which leaves Tigu to close out the round with another 49. Four to 1 in Tigu's favour. Looking to close out this match 2-0 on maps. And at this rate, trying to win overall 14-2, but with that start it's going to be very difficult. Dropping the gear and being in gear 2 will ship over half a second in Marhal's favour. And with that exit, even more time. Marhal just needs to realise the gap and not risk. Gap holding it around a second. Marhal will drive it in with a 49.6, securing them their second round win of the map and making the scoreline 4-2. Into round 7. Marhal carries a bit more speed, Tigu with a more inside line. That will be much to Tigu's benefit, gaining a couple of tenths on Marhal. And the advantage is growing to half a second before the gear 4 section. Marhal needs some really good SDs here to try and eat into the gap, but Tigu is very good at monitoring this type of a gap as a player that rarely makes mistakes. And will drive it into the finish with a .222, which is, yeah, 0.4 from WR, very respectable. This time Tigu getting a bit of snow on the first slide. Will leave Marhal with the lead, but Marhal's really far inside here, which isn't the optimum line, and Tigu manages to close 0.3 of a gap like it's nothing, and gets a better exit from the last gear 3 slide, which sets him up for the gear 4. Marhal having to release will lose a lot of time. Tigu looking to snowball the speed and going insanely wide, somehow keeping it on the track and taking the round win. Six to 2. Tigu on match point. Looking to close it out on the second map. In what's been a very strong showing. The gap though, it's only around a tenth, and Marhal with more speed will actually be ahead of Tigu going into the Gear 4 section, but this is where Tigu has been really strong this match, just feeling more comfortable on the SDs. Very even between the two players so far though. Tigu with a slightly more inside line, Marhal going for a bit more speed, but Tigu with a tenth in hand and a more inside line to the finish will close out the match 7-1, 7-2. Yeah, very strong performance from the German player. One of the stronger players overall going into this comp, I think, for many people.